can't do this, Sophia." The words hit me like ice water as I stand at the altar in my hand-beaded Vera Wang gown. 300 guests watching from mahogany pews, photographers capturing what should be the happiest moment of my life. Marcus Ashford, my fiancé of 3 years, the man I've loved for 8 years since we were college sweethearts, looks at me with something I've never seen before in his warm brown eyes, pity mixed with determination, as if he's finally found the courage to rip off a bandage he's been avoiding for months. "What do you mean you can't do this?" I whisper, my voice barely audible over the church organ that's still playing our processional music. The same melody Elena helped me choose 6 months ago when she insisted we need something more romantic, more fitting for a Chen family wedding, something that would photograph well for the society pages she said I deserved to grace as the eldest daughter of one of the city's oldest banking families. Marcus takes my trembling hands in his, and I can feel his palms sweating through my silk gloves, can see the way his Adam's apple bobs as he swallows hard, can practically hear his heart hammering against his chest because mine is doing the same thing, except mine is breaking while his seems to be racing towards some finish line I can't see. I'm in love with someone else, Sophia. Someone I should have chosen from the beginning if I'd been brave enough to follow my heart instead of doing what everyone expected of me. The church falls silent except for the confused murmur of guests who are starting to realize something is terribly wrong, that this isn't part of some elaborate surprise or romantic gesture, that their carefully planned Saturday afternoon of champagne and celebration is about to become something else entirely. I can see my parents in the front row, my father's face turning the dangerous shade of red that signals his blood pressure is spiking, my mother clutching her pearl necklace like it's a lifeline, both of them looking between Marcus and me with the kind of bewildered panic that comes when your worst fears are materializing in real time. "Who?" I ask, though some part of me already knows. Some terrible, intuitive part of my brain that's been trying to warn me for months about the way Elena has been hovering around our relationship, offering to help with wedding planning, insisting on being involved in every decision, always suggesting we include Marcus in family dinners and business discussions, always finding excuses to touch his arm or laugh at his jokes or mention how lucky I am to have found someone so ambitious and driven. Marcus's eyes drift over my shoulder toward the maid of honor standing behind me in the dusty rose bridesmaid dress I let Elena pick out, the one that complements her porcelain complexion and makes her look like some ethereal fairy tale princess while making me look washed out and pale by comparison. Though I didn't realize that's what was happening at the time, because I trusted her judgment. Trusted her when she said she only wanted what was best for me, only wanted to help me create the perfect wedding for the perfect couple. "Elena," he says, and her name falls from his lips like a prayer, like a confession, like a revelation that reframes every moment of the past 3 years and makes me understand that I've been living in a carefully constructed illusion, designed to keep me happy and compliant while the two people I trusted most in the world planned my destruction. The gasp that ripples through the church sounds like a wave breaking, like the collective intake of breath from 300 people who came here, expecting a celebration, and instead got front row seats to the kind of public humiliation that gets whispered about in country club dining rooms for decades. I turn to look at Elena, my adopted sister, who came to live with us when she was 10 years old after her parents died in a car accident. The girl my mother insisted we treat as true family. The woman who's been my closest confidant and dearest friend for 15 years, and I see something in her green eyes that I've never noticed before. Triumph mixed with satisfaction, as if this moment is exactly what she's been working toward all along. "I'm sorry, Sophia," she says. But her voice doesn't sound sorry at all. It sounds relieved, like she's finally free to stop pretending to care about my feelings, or my happiness, or my future. "We tried to fight it, we really did, but love isn't something you can control or plan or schedule around other people's expectations." The wedding dress that cost more than most people's cars suddenly feels like a costume, like an elaborate joke I'm wearing for an audience that's starting to shift uncomfortably in their seats, pulling out phones to record this catastrophe, already composing the texts and emails they'll send to everyone who wasn't invited, spreading the news that Sophia Chen, the banking heiress who thought she had everything, just got publicly dumped at the altar by her fiancé, who chose her adopted sister instead. "Elena, how could you do this to me?" I ask, my voice breaking on her name, my hands shaking so badly I can barely hold my bouquet of white roses and baby's breath. The same flowers Elena suggested when she said they would look classic and timeless in the wedding photos. Photos that were supposed to document the beginning of my happily ever after, but instead will serve as evidence of the most humiliating moment of my life. I didn't mean for it to happen, she lies. And now I can see the calculation behind her tears, can recognize the performance she's putting on for the cameras and the crowd, playing the role of the conflicted sister who never wanted to hurt anyone but couldn't help falling in love. It just did, Sophia, and I can't spend the rest of my life pretending to be happy for you when I know Marcus belongs with me. Marcus nods like Elena's words make perfect sense. Like betraying someone who's loved and supported him for 8 years is just a natural consequence of following his heart. Like destroying my reputation and my family standing in front of half the city's elite is an acceptable price to pay for his happiness. I should have been honest with you months ago, he says, reaching up to cup my face with hands that once made me feel safe and cherished, but now feel like shackles I need to escape. But I was scared, Sophia. Scared of hurting you, and scared of what your parents would think, and scared of losing everything your family has given me. And there it is. The truth hidden beneath all the pretty words about love and destiny and following hearts. Marcus is scared of losing access to the Chen family fortune, scared of losing the business connections my father provided, scared of losing the social status that came with being engaged to me, but apparently not scared enough to avoid falling into bed with my sister. The Chen Industries stock options I insisted my father grant him, the board position I convinced my parents he deserved, the investment opportunities I shared with him because I thought we were building a life together, all of it suddenly makes sense, as the foundation for a betrayal I never saw coming. "Get out," I whisper, then louder, my voice carrying across the silent church. "Get out, both of you, get out before I do something we'll all regret." But Elena doesn't move. Instead, she steps closer, reaching for my hand with the kind of concerned expression she's perfected over 15 years of living in our house, eating our food, wearing clothes my mother bought her, attending schools my father paid for, all while apparently nurturing some twisted resentment that's finally found its outlet. "Sophia, please don't hate us," she says. And the audacity of it, the sheer breathtaking selfishness of asking for my understanding after destroying my life in front of 300 witnesses, makes me want to scream until my throat bleeds. "Hate you?" I laugh, and it sounds hysterical even to my own ears, sharp and broken and dangerous. "Why would I hate you, Elena? You've only stolen my fiancé, humiliated me in front of everyone I know, and turned my wedding day into the kind of scandal that will follow my family for generations. What's to hate about that?" The guests are starting to murmur louder now, some of them beginning to stand up and file out of the church like they can't bear to witness any more of this train wreck, while others lean forward in their pews like they're watching the most compelling drama of their lives and don't want to miss a single word. I can see my business associates from the bank looking uncomfortable and embarrassed, probably already calculating how this scandal will affect their willingness to work with Chen Industries, while the society wives who've known my mother for decades whisper behind their programs, no doubt composing the gossip they'll spread at every luncheon and charity gala for the next year. Marcus starts to say something else, probably another apology or explanation that will only make everything worse, but I hold up my hand to stop him, my engagement ring catching the light streaming through the stained glass windows, the 3-carat diamond that belonged to his grandmother looking like a mockery now, a symbol of promises that were never real and a future that was built on lies. "Just go," I tell them both, my voice steadier now, colder, the kind of tone I use in board meetings when I need to project authority and control, even when I feel like everything is falling apart. "Take whatever this is and leave because you've gotten what you wanted and I won't give you the satisfaction of watching me fall apart." But even as I say it, I can feel myself cracking, can feel the careful composure I've maintained through 25 years of being the perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect fiancé, starting to crumble like a sandcastle hit by a wave. My legs feel unsteady beneath the weight of my dress. My chest feels tight like I can't get enough air. My hands are shaking so badly I drop my bouquet and watch it scatter across the marble floor, white petals mixing with the tears that are finally starting to fall no matter how hard I try to hold them back. Elena reaches for the bouquet like she's trying to help, like she's still playing the role of the caring sister, but I step back so quickly I almost trip over my train. almost fall right there at the altar where I was supposed to be promising to love and honor Marcus for the rest of my life. Don't touch anything that belongs to me, I warn her, my voice low and sharp enough to cut. Don't touch my flowers, don't touch my family, don't touch my life. You've taken enough. That's when I see it, just for a split second before Elena's mask slides back into place. The flash of satisfaction in her eyes, the tiny smile that tugs at the corner of her mouth, the look of someone who's just won a game I didn't even know we were playing. It's gone so quickly I might have imagined it, but I know I didn't. Know that what I just witnessed was Elena's moment of triumph, the culmination of whatever plan she's been executing for months or maybe years, using her position in our family to get close to Marcus, using his ambition and his fears to turn him against me, using my trust and my love to destroy me from the inside out. And in that moment, standing there in my ruined wedding dress with 300 people watching my life implode, I understand that this isn't just about Elena falling in love with my fiancé. This is about revenge, cold and calculated and perfectly executed. Though I have no idea what I could have possibly done to deserve it, or when Elena decided that destroying me was worth more than the family that raised her. The next 6 months pass in a blur of legal battles and public humiliation, newspaper headlines that make me sound like a delusional woman who couldn't see that her fiancé was in love with someone else, magazine articles that paint Elena as the tragic figure caught between loyalty to her sister and the demands of true love. Marcus marries her in a small private ceremony that somehow still makes the society pages, the photos showing Elena in a simple white dress that makes her look young and innocent, and nothing like the calculating woman who orchestrated my downfall. Chen Industries stock takes a hit as investors lose confidence in our family's judgment, questioning how we could miss something so obvious happening right under our noses, wondering what other blind spots might affect our business decisions. Clients start looking elsewhere for their banking needs. Board members suggest maybe it's time for fresh leadership. My father's blood pressure medications multiply until he's taking pills 3 times a day just to function, and my mother develops the kind of nervous tremor that comes from months of being whispered about at every social gathering. I lose 20 pounds because food tastes like ash, lose most of my friends because being around me makes people uncomfortable, lose the apartment Marcus and I were supposed to share because I can't afford the rent without his income, and end up in a studio space above a bakery in a part of town where none of my former social circle would ever think to look for me. I take a job at a small financial consulting firm where no one knows my name or my history, working 60-hour weeks for a fraction of what I used to make, trying to rebuild my reputation one client at a time while fighting off the depression that makes it hard to get out of bed most mornings. The worst part isn't the money or the loneliness or even the public humiliation. It's the way Elena sends me Christmas cards signed "With love from your sister," the way she calls on my birthday like nothing has changed, the way she shows up at family dinners with Marcus in tow and acts surprised when I decline the invitations, the way she's somehow convinced everyone, including my parents, that what happened was tragic but unavoidable, that love conquers all, and I should be happy for her happiness. When I see their engagement photos in the newspaper, Elena wearing the same style of ring I used to have, Marcus looking at her the way I thought he used to look at me, I realize that she's not just living my life. She's perfected it, made it better and more beautiful and more worthy of public admiration than I ever could. The foundation they start together for orphan children gets glowing coverage. Their charity galas raise more money than any Chen family event ever did. Their wedding registry at Tiffany & Company reads like a wish list for people who have everything and deserve more. By the time my parents are forced to sell the family home to cover their debts, by the time my father has his first heart attack and my mother starts taking antidepressants that make her sleep 14 hours a day, by the time I'm working 3 jobs just to pay for the studio apartment and the medical bills and the lawyers who couldn't save our family business, I understand that Elena didn't just want Marcus. She wanted to destroy the family that took her in, wanted to prove that blood doesn't matter and love doesn't last. And people like the Chens, who think they're better than everyone else because of their old money and their proper breeding, deserve to lose everything they've taken for granted. The night I die, I'm rushing to the hospital because my father is having another heart attack. This one worse than the last. And the doctors say if I don't get there soon, I might not get to say goodbye. I'm running across the street in the rain, dodging traffic because I can't afford to wait for a taxi, when a delivery truck runs a red light and hits me hard enough to send me flying 20 feet through the air. The last thing I remember is lying on the wet asphalt, tasting blood and thinking about how Elena will probably cry at my funeral, how she'll comfort my parents and help them through their grief, how she'll finally have everything she ever wanted without me around to remind anyone of what she took. Then I opened my eyes and realized I had been reborn. I'm standing in the foyer of the Chen family mansion wearing a midnight blue cocktail dress I haven't seen in years, holding a glass of champagne that tastes exactly like the Dom Perignon my father always serves at special occasions, listening to Elena thank everyone for coming to celebrate her 25th birthday party. The date on my phone says it's exactly 1 year before my wedding day, exactly 1 year before Marcus will humiliate me at the altar, exactly 1 year before my family will lose everything and I'll spend the last months of my life working myself to death trying to pay for my parents' medical bills. My hands are shaking so badly, I almost drop my champagne glass. My heart is pounding so hard, I can feel it in my throat. My vision is blurring around the edges because this is impossible. This can't be happening. Dead people don't get second chances and time doesn't move backward no matter how much you might wish it could. But I'm here. I'm 24 years old again. I'm standing in my childhood home, wearing a dress I remember buying for this exact party. Listening to Elena give the same speech I heard her give 12 months ago when I was too naive and trusting to understand what she was really saying. I just want to thank the Chen family for everything they've done for me, Elena says, her voice carrying across the crowded living room where 50 of our closest friends and family members are gathered to celebrate the woman who will destroy all of us within the year. Sophia's parents took me in when I had nothing and no one, treated me like their own daughter, gave me opportunities I never could have dreamed of. There's no way to repay that kind of generosity, but I promise I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of the love and trust you've shown me. The guests murmur their approval, raising their glasses in a toast to Elena's gratitude and our family's kindness. And I want to scream at all of them that they're celebrating a lie, that the sweet girl thanking us for our generosity is already planning our destruction, that the love and trust she's talking about means nothing to her except as tools she can use to get closer to Marcus and my family's business connections. But I can't say any of that because it hasn't happened yet, because in this timeline, Elena is still the grateful adopted daughter, and Marcus is still my devoted fiancé. And I'm still the naive heiress who thinks love and loyalty mean something. If I start ranting about betrayals that haven't occurred yet, about a future that only I remember, they'll think I've had a nervous breakdown, and instead of preventing Elena's plan, I'll probably just accelerate it by making myself look unstable and unfit to inherit my family's business. I catch sight of Marcus across the room, deep in conversation with my father about some investment opportunity Elena suggested he mention, and I feel sick watching the way he hangs on every word my father says, the way he nods eagerly when my father mentions expanding his role at Chen Industries, the way he glances over at Elena like he's checking to make sure she's watching him work his way deeper into our family's trust. How did I miss it the first time? The calculation behind his charm? The way he uses his handsome face and his supposed devotion to me to get closer to the things he really wants. Elena appears at my elbow like she's materialized out of thin air, sliding her arm through mine in the gesture of sisterly affection that used to make me feel lucky to have such a close relationship with her. "You look beautiful tonight, Sophia," she says, and her voice has that same warm, loving tone I remember from 1,000 conversations, except now I can hear the falseness underneath it, can recognize the way she modulates her voice to sound younger and more innocent than she really is. "Thank you," I reply, fighting the urge to pull away from her touch, to tell her I know exactly what she's planning and I won't let her destroy my family this time. "You look lovely too. That dress is perfect on you." She's wearing a cream-colored silk dress that probably cost more than most people make in a month, paid for with my father's credit card because Elena never seems to have her own money despite the generous allowance my parents give her and the job at a nonprofit my mother helped her get. Everything about her appearance is carefully calculated to project innocence and vulnerability. The soft colors, the modest neckline, the minimal jewelry. The way she's styled her blonde hair in loose waves that make her look like a college student instead of a 25-year-old woman with a master's degree in psychology and 15 years of experience manipulating people who care about her. I'm so grateful you insisted on throwing this party for me, Elena continues, and I remember now that she didn't insist. I suggested it because I thought she deserved to feel celebrated and loved on her birthday, because I wanted to show everyone how proud our family was of the woman she'd become. It means so much to have everyone here together, like a real family. The words real family hit me like a slap because I understand now what she means. That she's always seen herself as separate from us, as fundamentally different, as someone who doesn't really belong no matter how hard my parents tried to make her feel at home. That sense of otherness, that feeling of being an outsider looking in, that's what twisted her love into resentment and gratitude into revenge. That's what made her decide that the only way to truly belong was to take everything that belonged to me. We are a real family, I tell her, testing the waters, trying to understand how much of her mask she's willing to drop when it's just the two of us talking. Blood doesn't matter, Elena. You know that, right? Mom and Dad love you just as much as they love me. Something flickers across her face. Surprise, maybe, or calculation. Like she's trying to figure out why I'm saying this now, what I'm really asking. Of course I know that, she says, but her voice is just a little too quick, just a little too bright, like she's reciting lines she's rehearsed. I'm the luckiest girl in the world to have been chosen by your family. Chosen, not adopted, not welcomed, not loved. Chosen like she's a pet we picked out at a shelter, like our affection for her is conditional and temporary and could be withdrawn at any moment if she stops performing gratitude correctly. I'm starting to understand the psychology behind her betrayal. The way years of feeling like an outsider in the only home she's ever known turned her into someone who would rather destroy that home than continue living in it as a perpetual guest. Marcus appears beside us with that easy smile that used to make my heart skip beats, but now makes my stomach turn, slipping his arm around my waist in a gesture that probably looks loving and possessive to everyone watching, but feels like a cage now that I know how little it really means to him. Are you two talking about me? He asks, the kind of playful joke that's designed to insert himself into our conversation and remind everyone that he's part of this family unit, that he belongs here as much as anyone else. Always, Elena says with a laugh that sounds genuine, but makes my skin crawl because I can hear the undercurrent of intimacy in it, the private joke between people who share secrets they can't tell anyone else. I was just telling Sophia how lucky she is to have found someone like you. I'm the lucky one, Marcus replies, pressing a kiss to my temple that feels like a betrayal, even though in this timeline he hasn't actually betrayed me yet. Not every guy gets to marry his best friend and his best friend's amazing sister. The casual way he groups us together, like Elena and I are a package deal he's acquired along with access to my family's wealth and status, makes me want to throw my champagne in his face and demand to know when exactly he stopped seeing me as a person and started seeing me as a business opportunity. But I force myself to smile and lean into his embrace, playing the role of the happy fiancé, while my mind races through everything I know about the next 12 months and everything I need to do to change the outcome. I should go check on the caterers, I say, needing to get away from both of them before I do something that will blow my cover. Make sure everything is running smoothly. But as I start to move away, Elena catches my hand, her fingers wrapping around my wrist with just a little too much pressure to be casual. Wait, Sophia, I wanted to ask you about something. Marcus and I were talking earlier about maybe planning a surprise for your parents' anniversary next month. And we thought it would be nice if we all worked together on it. You know, as a family. The way she emphasizes family, while including Marcus in the planning, the way she's already positioning the three of us as a unit that makes decisions together, the way she's testing how much access I'll give her to my parents and our family traditions. It's all exactly what I remember from the first time around, and except now I can see the manipulation behind what I once thought was thoughtful consideration. That sounds lovely, I lie, already planning how to sabotage whatever scheme they're actually plotting. We should definitely coordinate something special for them. Elena's smile gets wider, more genuine, like she's pleased I'm playing along with whatever game she thinks we're playing. Perfect. Maybe we could meet this week to discuss details? Just the three of us, so we can really make it perfect for them. Of course. I agree, because I need to know what they're planning. Need to understand how deep their conspiracy goes and how long they've been working together to position themselves for the betrayal that's coming. I'll check my calendar and text you sometimes that work. Marcus nods enthusiastically, like he's excited about the prospect of spending more time with Elena under the guise of planning something nice for my parents. And I wonder how long they've been using family obligations and shared activities as excuses to be alone together. How many of their secret conversations have been disguised as innocent collaboration on projects that benefit everyone? I excuse myself and walk toward the kitchen. But instead of checking on the caterers, I slip out the back door onto the terrace, where I can breathe fresh air and try to process what's happening to me. The garden looks exactly the way I remember it from that night 12 months ago. The rose bushes my mother planted when we first moved here. The fountain my father installed for my 16th birthday. The fairy lights Elena helped me string up for the party because she said they would make everything look magical and romantic. How many times have I stood in this exact spot over the years, thinking about my future with Marcus, planning our wedding, imagining the children we'd have and the life we'd build together? How many conversations did I have with Elena about my hopes and dreams and fears, never realizing she was cataloging every piece of information she could use against me, every vulnerability she could exploit, every weakness she could turn into a weapon? I pull out my phone and start taking notes, typing everything I can remember about the timeline of events that led to my destruction. When Elena and Marcus started their affair, when they began their financial planning, when they started planting seeds of doubt about my stability and judgment, when they convinced my parents to give Marcus more access to the business, when they started the foundation that was really a front for money laundering, when they began the systematic campaign to isolate me from my friends and support system. And if I'm going to prevent this from happening again, I need to be strategic about it, need to think 3 moves ahead like Elena did, need to build my own network of allies and evidence before they realize I'm onto them. This time, I won't be the naive victim who trusts blindly and loves unconditionally. This time, I'll be the predator and they'll be the prey who never see me coming until it's too late to escape. The sound of laughter drifts out from the house, and I can hear Elena's voice rising above the others, probably telling some charming story about her childhood, or her work, or her gratitude for this wonderful family that took her in. She's so good at playing the role of the perfect daughter, the devoted sister, the loyal friend, that even knowing what I know about her, even having lived through the devastation she causes, I can almost believe the performance is real. But it's not real. None of it is real. And this time, I won't forget that for even a moment. This time, I'll be watching every move she makes, documenting every lie she tells, preparing for the war. I didn't know we were fighting until it was too late to win. This time, Elena can have the wedding dress, because I'm going to take something much more valuable from her. I'm going to take her victory. The next morning, I wake up in my childhood bedroom with sunshine streaming through windows I haven't seen in years, surrounded by furniture and photographs and memories that should be comforting but instead feel like evidence of everything I lost the first time around. My parents are downstairs making breakfast like they used to every Sunday when I lived here. My father reading the financial section aloud while my mother responds with the kind of gentle commentary that comes from 40 years of marriage. And the normalcy of it all makes me want to cry, because I know how precious these moments are, how few of them we have left if I can't change what's coming. I get dressed carefully, choosing clothes that project confidence and competence, and join them in the kitchen where they're discussing plans for expanding Chen Industries into Southeast Asian markets. The same expansion that will make us vulnerable to the kind of financial manipulation Elena and Marcus will exploit to bring us down. But instead of discouraging the expansion, I'm going to use my knowledge of which investments will succeed and which will fail to position our family for unprecedented growth, building our wealth and power to the point where Elena's schemes can't touch us. "Good morning, sweetheart," my mother says, looking up from her eggs Benedict with the kind of warm smile that used to make me feel safe and loved, but now makes me desperate to protect her from what's coming. "You were up late last night. I hope Elena's party wasn't too exhausting." "It was perfect," I lie, accepting the cup of coffee my father pours for me with hands that are steadier than they'll be in a year when the stress of our business troubles starts affecting his health. Elena seemed really happy. "She should be happy," my father says, settling back into his chair with the satisfied expression of a man who believes he's done good in the world by taking in an orphaned child and raising her as his own. We've given her every opportunity to succeed, and she's made the most of all of them. Her work at the Children's Foundation is getting wonderful reviews in the nonprofit sector. The Children's Foundation that will turn out to be a front for embezzling donations and laundering money through fake vendor accounts Elena sets up using Marcus's business connections. The foundation that will be investigated by federal agents 18 months from now, long after Elena and Marcus have transferred the stolen funds to offshore accounts and disappeared to live there happily ever after in a country with no extradition treaty. She's definitely making an impact. I agree, because I need to stay in character as the supportive sister while I figure out how to expose their crimes before they can execute them. Marcus has been helping her with some of the financial planning. He says she has a real talent for organizing complex charitable operations. My parents exchanged the kind of pleased look that comes from seeing their children's romantic partners integrate well with their family values. And I can see how Elena and Marcus used our family's pride in our philanthropic traditions to gain access to the kind of financial infrastructure they needed for their scheme. By positioning their foundation as an extension of the Chen family's charitable legacy, they made it impossible for my parents to scrutinize their operations too closely without seeming to question Elena's motives and Marcus's competence. Marcus is such a good influence on her, my mother observes, and the irony of it makes me want to laugh, except there's nothing funny about how thoroughly they fooled all of us. He's helping her think bigger about the impact she can have, the scale of good work she can accomplish with the right resources and connections. The right resources and connections being the Chen Family Foundation's donor list, our business partners' charitable giving budgets, and the nonprofit tax exemptions my father helped Elena navigate when she first started talking about wanting to help children who'd experienced the same kind of loss she had. Every piece of access and assistance my family provided was weaponized against us, turned into another tool for stealing from the people and organizations that trusted our family's reputation. I think I'd like to get more involved in Elena's foundation work, I announce, watching my parents' faces light up with the kind of pride that comes from seeing their daughter embrace the family tradition of giving back to the community. Maybe I could help with donor relations or financial oversight, make sure we're maximizing the impact of every dollar we raise. That's a wonderful idea, Sophia, my father says, already imagining how he can position this to his business associates as evidence of the next generation's commitment to responsible wealth management. Elena would love to have your expertise, and Marcus could probably use some help with the more complex financial structures. Perfect. If I'm going to expose their scheme, I need access to their books, their donor records, their vendor payments, all the documentation they think they're hiding behind the legitimate charitable work that provides cover for their criminal activities. By positioning myself as a helpful family member who wants to contribute to their success, I can get close enough to gather the evidence I'll need to bring them down before they can bring down my family. I'll talk to them about it this week, I promise, already planning the conversation where I'll offer my assistance while secretly preparing to document every aspect of their operation. Maybe we could meet to discuss how I can best contribute to their vision. After breakfast, I drive to the office where I still have a corner suite and an assistant, and the kind of access to sensitive financial information that Elena and Marcus will systematically strip away from me over the next year as they convince my parents that I'm becoming erratic and unreliable. But right now, I'm still the heir apparent to Chen Industries, still trusted with our most important client relationships, still positioned to influence the business decisions that will determine our family's future. I spend the morning reviewing our investment portfolio and making notes about which positions to strengthen and which to liquidate based on my knowledge of how markets will move over the next 18 months. The tech stocks everyone thinks are overvalued will double in price. The blue-chip companies everyone considers safe will lose 30% of their value when their accounting irregularities are exposed. The emerging markets my father is nervous about will outperform every other sector, and the supposedly conservative bonds Elena will convince him to buy will default when the issuing companies declare bankruptcy. By lunchtime, I have a comprehensive strategy for repositioning our assets to maximize gains and minimize losses. A plan that will make Chen Industries wealthy enough to weather any scandal and powerful enough to destroy anyone who tries to manipulate us. But I can't implement the strategy all at once without raising questions about how I suddenly became so prescient about market movements. So I'll have to introduce the changes gradually, disguising my future knowledge as brilliant analysis and careful research. My assistant buzzes me to announce that Marcus is here to see me, and I feel my chest tighten with the kind of anxiety that comes from having to pretend everything is normal when you know someone is planning to destroy your life. But I need to maintain the facade of being the loving fiancé who trusts him completely. Need to give him enough rope to hang himself while documenting every lie he tells and every manipulation he attempts. Send him in, I tell her, arranging my face into the expression of pleased surprise that I would have worn 12 months ago when unexpected visits from my fiancé were delightful interruptions rather than reconnaissance missions. Marcus enters my office with the kind of confident stride that comes from believing he holds all the cards, that his charm and good looks and supposed devotion to me have secured his position in my family's inner circle permanently. He's wearing the navy suit I bought him for his birthday last year, the one that makes his shoulders look broader and his eyes look bluer. And I can see why Elena fell for him, or at least why she decided he was worth recruiting for her revenge scheme against my family.